Hello class, go ahead and grab your notes out to coordinate geometry where you're going to name that quadrilateral. Now, I want you to follow along and fill in your notes as we go through these. We have learned several different quadrilaterals. We first learned about parallelograms. And then there were two special kinds of parallelograms that we learned about, rectangles and rhombi. And if they are both a rectangular and a rectangular rhombus, as we say, it is a square. So we have four types of quadrilaterals that we're going to classify when they are drawn in the coordinate plane. The way we're going to do that is we're going to check for the congruency of the sides, and we're going to check for the congruency of the diagonals. That's a lot of congruency. And remember, our sides and diagonals, to know the length of those, we're going to use the distance formula. We're going to have 2 points on each side of those, and the distance is going to be x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and all of that is underneath the square root. There we go. So when we do that, there are four, if they are quadrilaterals and they're a special quadrilateral, they are going to be these. If I have a parallelogram, the opposite sides will be congruent. This one is going to be congruent to this one, and this one is congruent to that one. But the diagonals are not congruent. If we have a rectangle, the opposite sides are congruent, and the diagonals are congruent. If we have a rhombus, all four sides are congruent, but the diagonals are not congruent. And finally, when we have a square, all four sides are going to be congruent, and the diagonals are going to be congruent. So we are going to be looking for, basically, we can do 6 distances to find which one of these they will be. So let's take a look at some examples. This first one, sometimes it might give us might be a good idea to give ourselves a quick little sketch. I'm just going to make a 4-sided figure. I don't know if it looks like it's supposed to, but I'm going to just go A, B, C, D, and that way I know that AB is opposite CD, and I know that AD is going to be opposite BC. So these are opposites. And then our diagonals are going to be AC and DB. So these are our diagonals. There we go. So let's take a quick look at some of these. We've got A, B, and C, D. These are opposite. Let's find out if they are congruent. So the distance between A and B, we're using these two. We're going to do -2 minus a -4 squared plus 8 minus 9 squared. -2 plus 4 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. 1 minus 9 is -1. -1 squared is 1. So we have the square root of 5. Let's check CD. So we're going to use these two. So we have the square root of -7 minus -5. And that's going to be squared. And then we have 3 minus 2 squared. And -7 plus 5 is -2. -2 squared is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1, and 1 squared is 1. So we do have the square root of 5. So far, these are congruent. So let's check the next set of opposite sides. We have AD. So we're going to have -7 minus -4. Oops, that's my x's. Let me start that over. We'll have 3 minus 9 squared plus negative 7 minus negative 4 squared. All under the radical. 3 minus 9 is negative 6. Negative 6 squared is going to be 36. Negative 7 plus 4 is 3, negative 3, and negative 3 squared is 9. So this is going to give us the square root of 45. And then we'll do BC. So we'll have the square root of 2 minus 8 squared plus negative 5 minus negative 2 squared, all under the radical. 2 minus 8 is negative 6, and negative 6 squared is 36. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9, giving us a square root of 45. These are also parallel. So we know it's going to be one of these, right? We do know it's in the quadrilateral. And we also know that it's not a rhombus or a square, because if they were, all 4 of these would be the same. So now we're going to determine whether or not it's a rectangle or not a rectangle. If these are congruent, then it's a rectangle. If they're not, it is not a rectangle. So let's do AC. We're going to take the square root of 2 minus 9 squared plus negative 5 minus negative 4 squared. And 2 minus 9 is 7. Negative 7 squared is 49. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. So we'll take the square root of that, and we have the square root of 50. Then we're going to look at DB. So we'll have 3 minus 8 squared plus negative 7 minus negative 2 squared. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Negative 5. And negative 5 squared is 25. Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 5. And negative 5 squared is 25. So this is also the square root of 50. So since these are also congruent, we're going to call this one, oops, let's get that down there, a rectangle. Let's go ahead and turn the page and do another example.